All right, hey gang, we're going to get right into today's lesson, being a remote learning day. Here are the expectations for today's lesson. I've posted the answers to Friday's homework in Schoology. I want you to go ahead and look over everything. Now again, I posted just the answers, so don't turn in just the answers. You need to show me the work on how you got the answers, okay? So I want you to post that for me, show me what you did. And then what we're going to do today is I'm going to go over some practice problems, and then I'm going to show you the problems I want you to work through, practicing the concept that we're working through today. So let's get into it here, folks. I want to do a quick review over things that we've covered so far, just as a quick reminder, and then we'll look at some problems. So if you look here, let me go ahead and sharpen this image up. I think that will do it. There you go. Okay. Now, in looking at the paper here, I want us to look specifically at these different rules. Last week we talked about how when we multiply two things, what do we do with the exponents? We add them together. So I'm going to put down, I'm going to add these two together. And I would probably pause my computer and actually write that out just as just to visually see what's going on. We also talked at the end of last week that when we raise it to a power, what happens? Well, we actually multiply those two together. So a to the m times n. Okay, something like that, multiplied by n. Okay? And then the last one, this is what we're going to talk about today. What do you think happens when we divide? Well, you may have an idea, but let's go over here and look at number 1, if I can zoom in enough. Okay? It says 8 to the 8th divided by 8 to the 4th. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to write this out in expanded form. So 8 to the 8th would be this. Count that again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 8 to the 4th would be this. Okay. Now, I'm going to cancel out as many as I can here to see what's left over. And if you notice here, we have 8 to the 4th as our solution, okay? Now, what can we do with the exponents here? What did we do with 8 and 4 to get 4? Well, you just subtracted them. So when I go back over here to the rule, okay, I've got 8, all right, let's go a to the m minus n. It kind of makes sense. If you go back to the multiplication property, we're adding the exponents. Well, division is the opposite of multiplication, and the opposite of adding is going to be subtracting. So that's what we're going to do there with the exponents. Okay. Now, 8 to the 4th, I grab my handy dandy calculator here. That's a little bigger number than I can think of. 4,096. So my final answer here, 4,096. Okay, now I still want to see this work right here. That's how I know you know what's going on there. Don't just type that into your calculator. Okay. Now, as I go on to the next one here, here's what I see. I can't reduce 5 and negative 4, so I'm going to do this. Those are going to remain the exact same. Okay. Now, c squared divided by c squared, these two numbers here are both the same numbers. Well, that means they can cancel each other out. Or c to the second, 2 minus 2 is 0. Anything to the 0 power is what? It's 1. So they cancel each other out there. Now, this next one is d to the third over d to the first. Okay, I put a 1 right there, d to the first. And if we take those exponents and subtract them, 3 minus 1 is 2. Now, where do I put that d to the second? Well, it's going to go up here. Okay? If it was negative 2, it would go on the bottom. Okay? So that's going to be my answer right there. Now, I could write this a different way. I could also say this. 5/4 is the same thing as 1 and 1/4. So I have negative 1 and 1/4 d squared. Or I could even say negative 1.25 d squared. Okay? Those are all the same answers there. And I'm okay with any of them as of right now. Now, I'm going to go down here to number 11. Okay? Let me scoot this up a bit. Okay, number 11. And as we look at this, what do we say about those negative exponents? Well, they're going to go, well, let's see here. I'm multiplying first. Let's see. I am going to take those down to the denominator. I have a negative exponent. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. This is going to be P. There's a positive exponent right there. And I'm going to take the Q and the R down to the denominator. So let's change that to a positive 2. So Q to the second. And then R to the third. Okay. So again, just making those positive exponents right there. That's how we can simplify that. Number 13 is the next one we're going to work on. Okay. Now, when you're doing this, I like to do this here. This exponent is going to go to both of these terms. So I might do something like that where it's reaching both of them. And so I'm going to put down 3 to the negative second and then 7 to the negative second. Okay. Now from here, with negative exponents, I'm going to flip those. 7 to the second over 3 to the second. Okay. And then I'm just going to work that out. 7 squared is 49. 3 squared is 9. And I might try to reduce that fraction right now. And there's no number that goes into 49 evenly. No. Okay. As far as 9 is concerned, they don't have any common factors there. So I could rewrite this. I can leave it like that. Or I could go ahead and write it as 9 goes into 49 5 times. That'd be 45, and there'd be 4 left over, so I could rewrite it like this as well. Or I could put it down like this, 0.4 repeating. Okay? So again, hopefully that makes sense. We're going to flip-flop these guys because of the negative exponents, and then we go ahead and work it out from there. Okay? All right, now, the next one, and these get progressively harder as we work through the worksheet here. Okay? The next one's going to be number 20 here. Okay? Now, the first thing I notice here is that negative 12 divided by 2 can be reduced to be negative 6. So I'm going to put negative 6 right here. And I don't know if there's going to be anything in the denominator, but I'm going to put it out there to start out with. Okay? Now, I have t to the negative second, or negative first, sorry, divided by t to the negative third. Okay? Now remember, what that means is we're going to take the 1, the numerator, and subtract the denominator. Okay? Now if I work this out, a double negative makes a positive, so this is actually negative 1 plus 3. Well, what is negative 1 plus 3? 2, right? T to the second. Okay? Now, if that was confusing to you, I want you to start to think like that, but if that was confusing to you, you can also do it this way, where maybe you switch those two. So if I were to do that, this would be t to the third over t to the first. Okay, remember we switched those. And if we subtract these two, 3 minus 1 is 2, we get the same outcome. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. We're subtracting these two. Negative 1 minus negative 3, that becomes a positive 3. So 3 minus 1 is 2. And we have that. Or you can just switch them and then subtract them and you have t to the second. So I'm going to put t to the second up there. Okay? Now the next one is u to the fifth over u to the first. Make sure you have a 1 right there for u to the first. Okay? I realize that's kind of hard to see. If I do that, is that better? There we go. Okay. So u to the fifth divided by u to the first, I'm going to subtract those exponents. 5 minus 1 is 4. So I'm going to put u to the fourth. Okay. And then the last one, x to the negative fourth divided by x to the fifth, I'm going to write out like this. X to the negative fourth minus x to the fifth. Okay. Remember they subtract each other. So if we do that, we get x to the negative ninth. Well, where does that x to the ninth go? It goes to the denominator. So I have right there x over 9. Okay? So again, hopefully that all made sense. If it didn't, slow it down, go back, watch it, make in parts, make sure that how I got this answer makes sense to you. Okay, because that one was a lot of stuff. Okay. All right, next one is going to be number 24. Now, number 24, you see the parentheses here? That means that this -3 is going to go to everything in the parentheses. So I'm going to rewrite it like this. I'm going to say 2 to the -3, a to the, now what do we do with these exponents? We multiply them, right? When it's raised to the power, it's going to be +6, okay? And then -3 times the 1 that's right there by the b is going to be b to the -3. Down here we have everything the same. Okay. Now from here, okay, I have 2 to the -3, and 2 to the -3, it's going to go down as 2 to the 3rd. And that's going to be multiplied by the 5 in a moment. Okay. Now, a to the 6th divided by a to the 2nd, 6 minus 2 is 4. So I'm going to put a to the 4th. Okay. And b to the -3rd divided by b to the 4th. If I take -3 and subtract 4 more, -3 minus 4 gives you -7. Okay. So from there, I'm going to put b to the 7th down there. Okay. And again, you could put that all in the numerator and then drop it down when it has that negative exponent right there. Okay. But again, you can just bring it down if you want to. Okay. Now we're not quite finished yet because I have to do this multiplication right here. So 2 to the 3rd, 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. 8 times 5 is 40. So my final answer is going to be this: a to the 4th over 40 b to the 7th. Okay. Now you can also do something like this. You could put the 1 down there if you wanted to. You don't have to. Okay. So that would be our answer right there in terms of that problem, number 24. Okay. Now, for number 26, this will be the last one that we work through here. Here's what I want to do. Kind of like on the last problem with number 24, this -1 is going to be distributed to everything in this problem. Okay. And so one thing you could do is go ahead and flip everything there. All right. But if you're not sure about that, you could always just write this out. Okay, remember we multiply the exponents here. So that's how we get a -3 right there. And then write it down the bottom here, c to the -5th, d to the -1st, and h to the 4th. Okay. Now from here, I know that 7 to the -1st is going to go to the denominator. So I'm going to write out like this. 7. I almost put -7. Don't do that. 7 goes down to the denominator. Okay. C to the 3rd divided by c to the -5th. Remember, we're going to take the 3 minus -5. If I write that out, 3 minus -5. Well, what does a double negative become? It becomes a positive, right? Okay. So this is actually 3 plus 5, which is 8. So I'm going to put c to the 8th. Okay. D to the -3rd minus -1. Okay. Well, -3 plus 1 is -2. Okay. So in the end, this d is going to go down d to the 2nd because it was a -2 initially. Okay. And then h to the 4th, there's nothing that happens on that one. And so I'm just going to clean this up just a little bit. I'm going to put c to the 8th right in the middle there. And that right there, folks, is our answer. Okay. 7d squared, where am I at here, just to make sure, 26, yeah, c to the 8th over 7d squared h to the 4th. There you go. Okay. So, again, hopefully that all made sense to you guys. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to practice these problems. You don't have to do all of them, but I want you to practice these problems here. So number 3, number 6, number 8, number 15 from the front side, 3, 6, 8, and 15. And then from the back side, I want you to do number 18, number 23, and number 27. So that'll be 3 right there, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 problems for you tonight. See what you can do on those. Come back tomorrow, or yeah, I guess it'll be tomorrow when you're watching this video. Come back tomorrow on Wednesday, and we will try to talk those through. Anyways, hey, have a great night, and we will see you later.